In this quick video, let's consider how plugin latency causes pre-ringing distortion. Now, real quick, we've just launched a brand new website along with our new 21 video School of Mastering. It's a highly detailed curriculum, and there's a lot more to discuss about it, but I'm going to save that for the end of the video. So, in the last video that we released, titled Clean Mastering, I made the claim that plugin latency can cause pre-ringing distortion. Now, this was a claim that a lot of people that watched the video didn't like. I understand that it doesn't seem like it would be true. That is, that plugin latency can cause pre-ringing distortion, but I wanted to quickly show you some evidence that what I said was correct. So what I've done is take a DRAC file, which is a high amplitude single sample file. Then I've run it through some various plugins. Some don't introduce latency and some do. What I found is that almost all of the plugins that do introduce latency also introduce pre-ringing distortion, with the exception of one plugin. Now, the first plugin I tested was the Weiss MM1 Maximizer. It introduces about 90 milliseconds of latency, and it amplifies quieter parts of the signal. If we observe the DRAC file that's been run through the plugin and zoom in, we'll notice that the pre-ringing distortion is in fact occurring. Now, the reason that this distortion occurs is because artifacts that are generated after the signal are then compensated for by our DAW's automatic delay compensation. When our DAW moves the signal back to its original starting point, these artifacts are centered on the start of the original signal. Now, this is how we can have some signal occurring before the original signal even begins. Moving on to the FabFilter Pro L2, set to its modern algorithm with true peak limiting enabled and AX oversampling, we'll notice that again we observe pre-ringing distortion. This is due to the plugin's roughly 60 milliseconds of latency in combination with a high-pass filter introduced by oversampling. Now, what's interesting here is that we'll notice how the latency of a plugin actually corresponds to the severity of the distortion. Next, we have the Pro Q3 equalizer set to its max latency setting, yet if we observe the waveform, we'll notice no pre-ringing. This is because I've made no changes to the frequency response. As soon as I do, we'll observe pre-ringing distortion. Now note that with the second EQ test, I used a 3 dB bell filter at 600 Hz. The fact we can observe pre-ringing suggests that we don't need a severe filter to cause this type of distortion. All we need is for the plugin to introduce latency and alter the frequency response. Now, the one plugin that introduced latency and did not cause pre-ringing was Newfangled Saturate plugin. It introduced about 10 milliseconds of latency, but even when I was engaging the clipper, I observed no changes to the DRAC file other than its amplitude. This would suggest that the design of the plugin, maybe something behind the scenes, could mediate the distortion. So I'm going to test this plugin some more later on to try to figure out what that might be. Next, the FabFilter Pro C2 normally doesn't introduce latency, but if we enable look ahead, it now has 20 milliseconds of latency. When we observe the DRAC waveform, we'll notice asymmetrical pre-ringing, which, to be honest, I'm not sure what's causing the distortion to react in this way. Maybe it's the look ahead that's altering the artifacts. When it comes to Saturn II, it only introduces 0.2 milliseconds of latency unless linear phase is enabled. On the right side, we're going to see the expected result of moderate saturation, but to the left of the original signal, again, notice that pre-ringing is occurring, but its severity, or lack thereof, is directly tied to the latency of the plugin. Now, reverb can also do this. This is actually how I first came across this type of distortion when I was making some impulse responses. Notice that a fair amount of the signal is present before the original DRAC sample. This suggests that temporal effects can introduce some form of pre-ringing distortion as long as they introduce latency as well. Now, all of this suggests that we need two things to cause some form of pre-ringing distortion. First, the plugin needs to alter the frequency response, either with filters, harmonics, or some other additive or subtractive form of processing. Second, the plugin needs to introduce latency, which is then compensated for by the DAW. Now, one last thing, in the previous video, I did give some wrong info that I want to correct here. I said that increasing the sampling rate will reduce the effect of pre-ringing by lowering the delay time of each plugin. Now, this is true when it comes to our monitoring latency, but it looks like plugins scale their latency to the sampling rate. For example, if I was to increase the sampling rate of my session by 4 times, a plugin will just multiply the number of samples by which it delays the signal by 4, resulting in the same delay time and the same amount of pre-ringing distortion. That said, increasing the sampling rate is still going to reduce aliasing distortion, so it's a good idea to do if you want a clean-sounding master. So sometimes with these videos, I'm covering things that rarely, if ever, get talked about, so I have to do my own research and testing, which means I can't always link where I've found certain info, but I hope that this video helps clarify what I was talking about in the clean mastering video, and if you have any additional questions or comments, please let me know in the comments section. Now, as I was saying at the beginning of the video, we have a brand new website and membership program. When you join, you get access to a lot of great stuff. First, you get a free master, not just a preview, but a fully mastered version of your song or mix. After that, you continue to get 50% off of our mastering services as long as you're a member. Included in the membership is our School of Mastering, which is a nearly 4-hour-long course that dives both into the technical and practical aspects of mastering, making it so you're ready to master projects for yourself and for others. You also get access to our Sage Audio community where you can ask questions, post your mixes and masters to get some feedback, and just generally discuss audio-related topics with a group of dedicated and passionate audio engineering peers. Lastly, you can download over 50 mixing and mastering chains, 20 multi-track sessions for mixing practice, over 40 finished mixes for mastering practice, and you get access to all of our presets that we've used in previous YouTube videos. The membership is currently 50% off, so check it out by going to sageaudio.com. Thank you so much for watching.